Hello and welcome to Sestra-Tainment. I'm Lenora.
And I'm Dee.
And we are coming to you in regards to everything entertainment. So, sis, you are up first. What you got this week?
So one thing that I do have this week is a movie that is very cute and precious. It is called If.
Oh, I think I saw something about If, but I don't know what it's about.
Yeah, If. So If stands for Imaginary Friends.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to go over the cast for the movie If. All right, so you have the main character who is Kaylee Fleming, who plays Bee. She's a little girl, probably like preteen, teenager, and she's just going through some struggles with some family stuff. So I'll get into what's going on with her with that.
Okay.
Ryan Reynolds plays Cal, who is somebody who lives in her apartment complex, but it's just like on a different floor.
Okay.
You have John Krasinski, who plays her dad.
Mm-hmm.
And he's actually going through some stuff as well. You have Fiona Shaw, who is his grandmother. Who is her grandmother. You got Steve Carell, who plays one of the imaginary friends named Blue. You have Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who plays another imaginary friend named Blossom.
Mm-hmm.
Louis Gossett Jr. is in here. He plays an imaginary friend named Louis. You have somebody who's in here who's always like around and like helping out. Well, basically like a helper person, but she's always in the mix of everything. But that's Lisa Colon Zayas. She plays Janet. Now she's just a nurse in the hospital, but she's always popping in and doing little things. So just to give you the gist.
I did have a quick question. Is this one of the last movies that Louis Gossett Jr. did?
I think so.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
He passed away in March of this year.
Yeah,
so
I don't know for sure.
wondering,
That could be a possibility.
I'll look it up. Yeah, I was just wondering.
You don't actually see him because he is an imaginary friend.
Yeah, right.
So
but just his voice.
Yeah, it's just his voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So what it is a little girl who sees imaginary friends all over. Now, she's seeing them after her mother passes away. Now, after that happens, her father has to have surgery, so she resorts back to when things were simple for her, like as a child.
Mm-hmm.
So as the movie goes on, Bee is staying at her grandmother, and while her father's in the hospital getting tests and everything, she hears something in the room and sees the window open.
Okay.
She's like, that's weird. So she goes, looks out the window, doesn't see anything, close the window. Her grandmother's asleep on the couch, mouth wide open, snoring. Yeah. So so she goes, she closes the window. Then she looks at the closet and she sees the closet door's open. She's like, what's going on?
Yeah, what's happening?
Opens up the closet doors, nothing in there except for like a couple of her kids' toys when she was kids, like arts and crafts and stuff like that. And then she sees her mom's camcorder from all the videos that her mom used to make of her, like when she was little. So she grabs that. She was like, I need a charger. So she runs to the store to go get a charger. So it's like a store, it's like a Radio Shack, but it's not a Radio Shack because they don't have those anymore. Mm-hmm. But so she runs into there, gets the charger, walks out, and as she's walking to her apartment, she looks over and she's just like, hello? And she sees like this little girl.
Okay.
She sees like a person. She's like, hello? And she's like, well, wait, you can see me? What? And then the girl runs inside. So now Bee is running after the girl.
Yeah.
Now the person that she's running after is Blossom. Blossom is one of the imaginary friends. So Blossom runs upstairs all the way to the 3rd, 4th floor or something like that. Bangs on the door. Her best friend is Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
Ryan Reynolds is like, what do you mean she saw you? Like, no, because nobody can see you because you're an imaginary friend.
So Ryan Reynolds, as an adult, has an imaginary friend that he can see. Okay.
So he's like, but nobody can see you because you're an imaginary friend. He's actually like supposed to be rounding up all the imaginary friends. So he's just like working in cahoots with all the imaginary friends. So now you have Bee, who's just like, hey, she's knocking on the outside of the door. Hey, just want to know if I could play with your little girl. I just moved downstairs not too long ago. And as soon as she says that, he's like, oh, nope, no little girl here. I don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. And then the neighbor pops out and she's like, little girl, you need to go back downstairs. You don't need to be up here. Just go ahead and go back downstairs. So the little girl goes back downstairs. And then after that, she starts looking, like coming all through the building and seeing different things happening. So now she's outside and she looks over, and now you got Kyle and Blossom walking down the street together, and she's like following them. She's like, what are they doing? So now she's following them. She's like, okay, so that's not even a kid. That's like a cartoon looking figure. And then you see Cal go over to the corner, and he's like scaffolding inside of a building. So now she's looking like, what is this guy doing?
What's happening? Right.
He goes inside. Next thing you know, some things happen on the inside. He comes outside of the window. And then all of a sudden you see out the window is a big blue hand. And then it pushes the window up. And it's Steve Carell's character, who is a big imaginary friend, but he's just big, fluffy, and so sweet, but he's huge.
So he can look scary, but
he looks scary. Yeah, it's like the guy from off of Monsters Inc.
Oh yeah,
the monster from off of Monsters Inc. Yeah, so it's like that. So and it's just cute because now she's like, oh shoot, like I can see that one too. Now I can see them all. What's going on? Now there's a whole conversation that needs to happen.
Yeah.
So this is it. What's coming from there and what ends up happening. Why is she seeing so many imaginary friends?
Right.
Where are these imaginary friends at? Because if they don't have anybody, like an owner or anybody who's with them, they don't have a friend, then what are they doing? They're in a retirement home. That's what they are.
Okay.
And you know who runs a retirement home?
Ryan Reynolds.
Louis Gossett Jr. His character. Yeah.
Interesting.
He was like Teddy or something like that.
Okay.
Because he's a teddy bear. So yeah, it's just basically the movie following it from there. And B is actually trying to figure out, what do I do with all these imaginary friends? There has to be a reason that I'm seeing them. And I feel like I have to do something. So she feels like she needs to find the actual friends for the imaginary friends and make sure that they all fit together.
Aww.
So it is a very precious movie. Nice little family movie.
Yeah.
I like this. And that is If. And you can watch that on Amazon Prime.
On Amazon Prime. Love it. Love it. All right. So I am going back to the past. How this podcast all began with calling it Sestra-Tainment.
Okay.
I am going back to Orphan Black.
Orphan Black Echoes.
I'm going to Echoes. Yep. So I don't know. Have you watched any of that?
I have not started yet. No.
Okay. So I am watching it, and it's a little slow. I will say it's slightly slow, but I'm actually enjoying it. Like, I know that it is something that I knew about in the past, in regards to Orphan Black. We both loved the show so much.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what it is that, like, so you start off watching it and you have the main character, right? Oh, well, let me go through the cast. Hold on a second. Let me hold your mule, as Tabitha Brown would say. So,
a mule.
Yeah. You haven't heard her say that?
I've not heard her say that, but I've heard some Southern Baptist women say, oh, Lord, homo mule.
Yeah, exactly. So you have Kristen Ritter, who plays Lucy. She's the main character. She also was Jessica Jones when you think of the Marvel movie world, so or TV show world. So that's Kristen Ritter. You have Amanda Fix, who plays Jules. You have you have a bunch of different people. You have Keely Hawkins, who plays Kira Manning, which you're like, Kira was the daughter. For Orphan Black on the show, and so you have her. You have Felix's character is on here as well, which I love, which for some reason the IMDb is not telling me where he's at. Oh my gosh, but he's on here. You have Yvonne Jogia as Jack. I can't really describe it. Anyway, so you have all these different characters. Everybody is basically new. And what it is that, so it starts off with the main character, Lucy, right? She's kind of waking up. She's in a daze. She doesn't really know what's going on. And you have Kira, who is from the original series, who is talking to her like a therapist. You just don't know it's Kira at this time. Okay. Like, you're just watching this all unfold, her doctor, And so you're like, oh, okay, what's happening? What's going on? And she's like having these memories and flashes of blood everywhere, blood on her hands, blood on her socks and her feet, whatever. But she's not remembering anything. Okay. So then, and with Orphan Black, for anybody who hasn't watched it, it's all about clones. It's all all about generating, I guess, I don't know what you want to call it, just generating clones, basically, for lack of a better way of saying it. So what happens is that Lucy realizes, like, hey, there's something going on here. I don't feel like a normal person, right? So she actually runs away from the facility, but not until after she went into some lab area, and there were people who were being generated. Like, there were people who, like, there was this like pink muck
like they're
or something,
people?
like they're printing. So basically it comes out, and this is all like first, maybe second episode, because I haven't even gotten that far into the series yet, but I'm into it. So what happens is, it's a little slow moving though, I will say that, but it is like, yeah, they're basically printing people. And when they print the people actually, you can't tell that they've been printed, and the people themselves don't even know that they've been printed. So it's kind of an interesting situation, right? Okay. So she realizes that, she's kind of freaking out, and then she disappears, and then it does like a time jump, and she's really far ahead. She now has a boyfriend, or maybe an ex-boyfriend, but they still kind of, friends with benefits. Mm-hmm. And then you have a daughter who I'm thinking is the stepdaughter. I'm still trying to figure that out, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it said, a stepdaughter, who is deaf. And so there's a lot of sign language and things like that. So you do have to pay attention, because you have to know what exactly is going on with the show, mm-hmm. Through the conversations that she's having with her stepdaughter. And so her and the boo, they are trying to keep the relationship away from the daughter. Like, they call her mom, they call mm-hmm. her, well, maybe they just call her Lucy, but and the dad and stuff, and it's like a cohesive group unit, but it's like Lucy lives in like a trailer outside the house that the dad and the daughter live in, kind of scenario. It's weird, because they're not a couple, they're broken up, or they're not together, but they're trying to have, they're together, but they're not trying to have the daughter know that they're together. Don't ask me why. So anyway, and so
it's a lot.
It is. So the daughter, I forgot to mention her. She's Charlie on the show. She's Zarilla Langford. So anyway, so Lucy is basically in hiding. So everything that happens with her, she just doesn't want to go to doctors. She doesn't want to, get checked out for anything. Like, she's just, because she knows she feels as though something is going on with her, and she's probably been manufactured. She just doesn't know for sure. Well, she gets hit by a car. And in the process of getting hit by a car, guess where she has to end up? In the hospital, because she's completely out of it. And so in the process of being completely out of it, she wakes up, and then the doctor is standing there like, hey, you took a real, bump on the head, and this and that. And she was like, okay, so what does my blood work show? Like, is everything okay? Like, what did you see? And the doctor's like, you're fine. You're normal. Like, everything's okay. And she's looking like, how is it possible that everything's okay with me? I am. But I'm also manufactured. So how is it that you can't put together that my blood is maybe synthetic or something, like what's going on? But lo and behold, whatever technology they have, and this is the part I can't tell. Is it the technology they have that made it so that she doesn't look like she's, like she looks like she's a normal mm-hmm. human person who hasn't been generated? Or is it that they got into the paperwork and the systems and clip, and then they hacked in and changed everything around and made it look like it was normal?
You hook it up to the computer and
make it do what you want to do. Yeah. So I don't know what the right answer is to that. All I know is that after that hospital stint, they found her. Okay. And in the process of these folks finding her, they basically were trying to, I don't think they were trying to kill her. I think they were trying to bring her back to Kira. So, because Kira really seems to care about Lucy's character, and I don't think she wants any ill will to happen to her. And so, long story short, it's a really interesting dynamic in regards to Kira trying to figure out what's going on. Who is she? Keeping the secret from her boyfriend and stepdaughter, but then realizing I have to bring him into the loop on a couple of things. He's going to think I'm crazy, because who's going to believe that a person you can see that's flesh is made from a printer? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Like, how do you believe that? You've seen the person, with a gash on their head and they're bleeding. You've seen, all these different sides and aspects of a person. They don't sound robotic. Like, you just are assuming that they're a person. And so he's kind of skeptical in regards to what she's sharing. And she's also very paranoid. So everything is like, well, I just can't tell you. And you can't know about that, because if you know about it, you'll know too much. And some of the acting of her, I don't know why. I'm probably just not a fan of her acting. because it's very theatrical. I don't know if did you watch Jessica Jones?
No, I couldn't get into it. I don't like her acting.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah, because her acting is always the same exact person, that same exact nonchalant person. It's like trying to get Natasha Lyonne to play somebody other than herself. Mm-hmm. It's not possible.
Right, to play like an aristocrat or something. And you would just be like, really? Like, how are you in Downton Abbey now? Like, that isn't even going to make any sense.
I need you to go down to the bridge and get my jewels.
Exactly. So it's something about her acting that doesn't really do it for me, but the storyline itself I'm invested into, so that's what I'm going to do. But there's been scenarios where poor Charlie, to save Lucy, had to shoot somebody potentially where they are no longer living. Okay. Let's just say that. And then Charlie's got to deal with just knowing that she fired a gun, and all of that kind of stuff. So that's a little bit of a challenge. And then Felix shows up. Felix. So he was Kira's mom's best friend, not Lucy's, Kira's mom's best friend. So if you remember Orphan Black, there were a lot of different versions of her mom. So there's Tara, there was Cosima. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. There was Rachel, there was Beth, there was all these different versions, right? And so you do hear Kira on the phone talking to Cosima and saying, hey, I just want to let you know something's going on with the project I've been working on. She's missing, yada, yada. So she's not actually seeing Tatiana, but she is talking to Cosima. So the first character isn't actually in this series so far.
But you do see that, you hear the name.
Yep. And then what ends up happening is that after she talks to Cosima, then all of a sudden Felix shows up. And Felix, they aged. So it's a little fake looking, in my opinion. Like, they gave him gray hair. They're making him look older. They're making him look heavier. But he's still the same Felix. Like, he's going to the club. Like, he took her to a club to get cocaine. Okay. And I'm like, this is a doctor, a physicist or whatever, who's working on how to generate, human beings with a printer. And you're taking her to like this nightclub where some guy, says to Felix, oh, I've never been with an older guy before. And he was like, like, pass around my number, like, it's all good, because Felix was always so fun and
very
free.
Promiscuous.
Yep. So then I'll just say quickly, the other thing that comes up in this is that as Lucy is going to the facility where she knows that the headquarters is for this whole thing, she sees a girl and she's like, wait a minute, hold up. That is a memory. A memory I have in my head is of a girl that looks exactly like you. So she basically takes the girl kidnapped, like she kidnaps her with a gun and the whole 9 yards. And it's people from there, like security, that's coming after them. They get away, and she, so she goes to a place that her confidant, who believes her story and knows everything about her. And they hold her hostage, and they have the same mark on their arm in the same place. Okay. And then Lucy actually has like almost like a UPC code, like from a grocery store on her arm. But she was trying to look for that same one on the girl's arm, and she can't find it. But she's just like, you are me. Like, they have generated you. You are fake. You are out of a printer. And the girl's looking at her like, chick, I have no idea what you're talking about, but you're crazy. I'm going home to my mom and dad. And they were like, you don't have a mom and dad. So the girl's like 16, 17, something like that. And she's saying, I don't really have a memory, because she was like, well, where are you from? Where were you born? Because you're printed. So where were you born? And she was like, I don't know. My parents died in a car crash when I was young, and I don't remember. I hit my head. Everybody, I've been adopted and all of that. So with Lucy kidnapping her, now the girl got away. She went back home. She's talking to her stepbrother. Their relationship's kind of funny. I guess it's like, I don't even know if you want to say stepbrother. I guess they're both adopted kids. What do they call that? If you're adopted siblings? I don't know what the name is for adopted siblings who have different parents. I don't know. That's a good question. But anyway,
it's still step, because they're not related.
They're not related at all. But
it's not gonna be half. So it'd be step,
I guess it is step. Okay, step siblings. So but they're hilarious in their communication with each other. But because she just goes in and she was like, he's doing something on his computer trying to make like TikTok videos or something. And she was like, I got kidnapped today, and somebody told me that I was made from a printer. Blah blah blah. He was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, whatever. As he's focused on other things. And then all of a sudden he's like, wait, what? Like, you got kidnapped? Like, shouldn't we tell mom and dad? And, it's all of that kind of stuff. So it's
that
really
would
cute.
be a conversation we would have with Stu.
Yeah. And he would be,
Stu would be playing a game. Yeah, all right, that's crazy. Wait, what? Hold on, wait, what'd you say? You got kidnapped? Oh, no. Go ahead, finish your game.
But yeah, so but she now is starting to second guess everything. So she's like, well, let me call my grandfather because I know my grandfather, wasn't able to take me in. So that's why I'm with this adopted family. So let me just call him. She calls her grandfather and he's like, yeah, sweetie, I remember when you were a child, and remember that scar on your arm is because you fell off the bike and it scraped something, blah, blah, blah. And he tells this whole story and she was like, oh, okay. And then she was like, okay, grandpa, well, I'll talk to you later. She gets off the phone and she's looking a little perplexed. And then the guy who is acting, quote unquote, as her grandfather, they literally just had him in some little staged, like a loft, not even a loft, like what are those big studio things that they have, like this big huge studio that's empty, and they just had this little place that they put up and put chair in there and little stuff to make it look like he was at an old folks home, and then what they ended up doing, a retirement community, maybe that's a better way of saying it, but he was at a retirement community with a robe on and stuff, and right after he had that visual call with him, he was like, this kid is driving me crazy. I don't even know why she keeps calling me. Like, y'all got to give me more notice than this. I was on the golf course. Like, So it's basically like, everything around her is orchestrated and she has no clue. But she's starting to put some pieces together. So I'm thinking her and Lucy are going to start working together in cahoots. This Jules, the younger girl, who's the younger version of Lucy. Yeah, but she's like, we have the same features. Like, look at me. I look like you. I'm just older than you. She was like, yeah, like 100. It's like all that kind of stuff. So it's cute. But anyway, so that is Orphan Black Echoes. It is on AMC or AMC Plus or the BBC, depending on where you are.
BBC too. Oh yeah, that's right, because it's a BBC show. That's right.
And they do have, it's weird because they have some people who have British accents.
What is the
and
BBC
then they have some people who have, I don't know. But they have some people who have British accents and some people who have English accents on here. So it's really interesting.
Like American English?
Yeah. So it's like, right. Because they're both English. But but it's like the British sound and dialect is coming through for like Felix and certain people. But then you have like Kira, who sounds like she's American, for example. But when I looked at that other show, remember the one where it was the person who came in and was shooting up the resort?
Yes.
Remember that one? That was so good. It was like 3 episodes too. And it was British and she was in there speaking and sounding British. So I'm like, this is so weird that she's pretending to be American in a show that could be British.
Yeah,
like I'm so
I guess
confused. But I think it's because she was Kira, she's Kira, so she has to take on the persona of her growing up in, in America and in the United States. So anyway, but that's it. So that is it in regards to Orphan Black. So check it out, Echoes, and check out the first one because that was really, really good. All right, what you got?
I have Killers of the Flower Moon.
Finally watched the 3 hours.
3.5 hours.
3.5. Okay.
Took me 2 days.
Okay. Makes sense.
Definitely took me 2 days. I need Leonardo DiCaprio to stop doing Titanic length movies.
Oh, goodness. Everything's 3 hours and 3.5.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah. 3 hours and 26 minutes to be exact. Very, very good movie, though.
Right.
Very, very good. Very crappy, the things that happen in the movie. But very good.
Yeah, I was having a dinner last week with Angela. Shout out Angie. And she was talking about the movie and how good it was. She was like, oh my God, it was horrible, but it was so good. Yeah. Like, it kept you into it. Yeah, there you go. I don't think he won anything for it, though.
I think he won a lot of
No,
things.
maybe he did. Like I can't remember.
Because everybody was like, I feel like everybody was talking about the movie. It was like, well, I would watch it, but it's 3 hours long. Because it has everybody in it. There's really good people in it. Like the cast. So we go to the cast.
Yep.
You got Leonardo DiCaprio, who plays Ernest Burkhart. And has Robert De Niro, who plays William Hale. Now, Ernest Burkhart is the nephew of Robert Hale. Now, this is all based on a true story also, so you can look this up and see the pictures of these characters and what they look like then and how how Scorsese and his team actually got them set up to look just like them.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have Lily Gladstone, who plays Molly Burkhart, who ends up being the wife of Ernest.
Okay.
Now, she is Native American. Now, you do have Tentu Cardinal, who plays Lizzie Q, who is the mother of Molly. You have John Lithgow, who is the prosecutor for the things that are happening. Brendan Fraser is in it as well. And you have 3 young ladies who are all playing the Native American sisters to Molly, who is Anna, Rita, and Minnie.
Oh, okay.
So those are the 3 sisters. Well, actually, it's going to be 4 sisters altogether. Their mother is Lizzie Q.
Okay.
So, base of this good but horrible movie.
Right.
So it's a movie about white men coming in to take over the Midwest as the Native Americans have found that they have struck gold and now have a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So that is
Can't allow that to happen.
Yes. So now I did do some research. Now it says Killers of the Flower Moon is a 2023 Martin Scorsese directed crime drama film, which is based on a true story of the murders that took place in 1920 on Osage Nation, a reservation in Oklahoma. Now, the film stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro, and is based on David Grann's 2017 nonfiction book with the same name. Now, the story follows the people after they are forced off of their land in Kansas and relocated into Oklahoma. Now, there is something in this movie that actually was like, this is deep. So when they had to move from Kansas to Oklahoma, they said that so they didn't ever want to part with their land, but they was like they weren't going to leave their dead buried there for other people to come in and dig it up. So they took the remains and put it out in front of their carriages, and they drove over them and tried to trample them and like push them into the soil.
Really?
Yes.
So that was a better way to do it than to just leave it dug up and you just don't know what's going to happen. At least you know that they were pummeled into sand, basically, turned into sand. Yeah. So we know what happened. Wow.
Yeah. So if you have a whole Osage, tribe or whatever, and they all pick up and move, wow. That's a lot. And they did it with all of their dead.
That's a lot.
That's deep, right?
Yeah.
That is very deep. But I mean,
but it's all about the land. It's all about the earth.
Exactly.
And it was like, we don't want you to take that. And what are you going to do with them? We don't know. So we would rather do something that we know is going to happen versus what you're going to do.
Exactly. So what happens is that, so you got William Hale, who is Robert De Niro's character. He is one of the men who come in, learn the language, and then starts bringing more white men in. So he's like, hey, we need a doctor here. We need, banks. We need this. We need that. And he's setting up everything, trying to show the Native Americans how to live with money and stuff. The way of the new age Americans.
Okay, got it.
Not the natives.
All with the intention of doing something bad.
The intention is we are going to kill y'all and take your money and your land. And everything else.
But we're acting like we're your friends.
Oh, yeah. Well, I learned the language. We're best friends. Yeah. You know? I'm always here for you. What? You ain't got nothing to eat? Let me get you something to eat. Come on, sit at my table. All right, have you heard about the life insurance policies that we got going on? This is literally how it went. Hey, you heard about life insurance policies? No? Well, you should definitely sign up for life insurance, and then you can leave your money to your husband so he can look over everything that you have with the land and the children. And so many Native American women did that as they were married to the white men. And then, next thing you know, the husbands are
because the men came in, the men came in to marry the Native American women because they knew they had the money.
Yes, the men were all bought in. Now, these men that were bought in all had like some kind of, they were like, it was like the Wild West, basically. But it wasn't the Wild West. Like, they were just going around killing people, robbing people, stealing cars, raping women. This is what they were already doing. And then, William Hale. Now
they're going to give them a bunch of money, too.
Now Hale is like, hey, come on and you can do all that stuff here because we can take all their stuff if you do it here. But, just keep it under wraps. I'll tell you how you should do it and how you shouldn't do it. And it doesn't work that way. So now people are dying left and right. So when Leonardo DiCaprio's character comes in, then it's like, hey, We got some boys down here causing trouble. We don't want no trouble. What you need to do is you need to find you a nice woman. Look at Molly. Molly is now the head of the house, blah, 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 blah. You know, she's right underneath her mother. She takes care of everything. So you need to go ahead and marry her because she is a brick wall. You got one sister, Anna. Anna is gun-toting. Anna's always drunk at all times. And Anna don't take no mess. Okay. Papa don't take no mess.
Yeah.
So Anna, like, literally some dude came up to Anna, was like trying to like grab her arm. He was like, hey, where do you think you're going? Like, you led me on all night. She's like, get your hand off of me. Pulls her gun out. Pow, pow.
Yeah.
And then walks off. Like, walks away with the gun like nothing.
What?
The Wild Wild West. So, he goes and gets with Molly. And then from there, everybody dies. Everybody dies. Everybody. And then there are things that end up happening and how they show how they end up killing them and the stupid ideas that they have, and then how they ended up covering up all the stuff. And then like the Native Americans having group meetings to be like, okay, hey, look, this is what's going on and this is what we need to fix. And with them having those meetings, now you got William H. Hale sitting right there with you. So now everything that you're saying that you need to fix, he's already hearing this, and now he's going to go and tell his little peons, hey, this is what they're looking at now, so now we need to fix this. So this whole movie, great, written beautifully, the way that it is all, you know, the how it's directed, everything good.
Okay.
Because this is a true story, it's horrible.
Right, because you know people literally
this is because it actually happened. Like, this actually happened. This is part of Oklahoma and Kansas's history.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but it is what it is, and we can't do anything to change the past. So we just write movies about it and make movies about it and watch them.
And it's for awareness, which is
you
really
get education
good,
about
you get that for sure. Because it's a lot of people who had no idea that any of this stuff happened, like myself. Like, I had no idea that this had happened.
Oh, and here's another thing that happens in the movie. So after some explosions and everything go off, they get message, they get news. Oh my God, they're coming to get us, like they got them in Tulsa.
Yeah.
So now they're taking out the black people in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then in Osage, they're taking out the Native Americans. And just taking everything that they have.
It's crazy.
And then some husbands are getting mad because some of the women are going and making, like, instead of the husbands putting the life insurance, like getting all the life insurance and stuff left to them, some of the women are going and doing it themselves and leaving it to the children and leaving it to, and they are getting more angry. So then what do? Now we just got to kill you so we can kill somebody else to take all the stuff that you gave to them, so then we can get that. Yes, it's a nonstop. It's a nonstop. We just got to slaughter these people. Like, it shows you how we as Americans are horrible human beings.
Yeah, well, but it also shows how people who were immigrants to this country did some diabolical things to take over the country. And then it kind of puts into perspective why potentially some of those said people, even today, knowing what their ancestors did, are so scared of things shifting.
Exactly.
You know, because it's like, okay, we have been the majority. So if we are the minority, knowing that people are knowing about these things that our ancestors did. I didn't do it, but our ancestors did it.
And I know all about it.
And we can't allow this stuff to happen.
Yeah, we still kind of, have those values, but we don't speak about having those values unless
so it's kind of scary, in regards to how much people will hold on to the power of the majority so that they don't have to potentially live the same life that their ancestors created for others. But at the same time, the flip side to that is that most people who are the minorities, if they were the majority, I don't even know if that's going to be top of anybody's radar of this is how we have to treat people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't think it would be. They'd be like, "Yo, you see what we got now? Like, you see how we moving on up?
Yeah, exactly.
We got to keep pressing towards this. Like,
exactly. Versus trying to get reparations for something from before.
Than trying to break even. Like, no, I'm sure there will be some people out there who would want to do that.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I don't know.
I don't think that's going to be majority of the citizens. But anyway, so like I said, Killers of the Flower Moon. I watched it on Apple TV. If you have 17 years to spare of your life, now if you have 3 hours and like 20 something minutes, I would say 3 hours in general. I'm pretty sure the end credits are really long, because everybody's in this movie.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But yeah, I would say definitely go ahead. If it's a rainy, snowy day, hurricanes going around, guys, come on, sit down.
All those things.
Yeah,
okay.
if it's rainy, it's snowy, it's a hurricane, it's a tornado. Well, if it's a tornado, you gotta hunker down in place. But anything else, go ahead, pop the movie on, and yeah, it's pretty. It's good, but it's horrible at the same time.
Yep. It sounds like it. That's the reason I haven't watched it, because I'm going to have to be in the right mind space.
Yeah, it's a great movie, but horrible things happen.
Yeah, that's true. And it got a ton of accolades. It said here it was up for 277 nominations through all the different awards, like even the Vancouver Film Critics Awards and the Writers Guild of America Awards and the Screen Actors Guild Awards and all of that. So they were up for a ton of nominations, but then they ended up winning 93 of the 277.
I mean, this is a really, really good movie. It is really, really good. It is 3 hours and 26 minutes long. So that's 2 whole movies.
And definitely. And they had a lot of nominations. I guess those are the total nominations versus the wins. But like the main actress, I think she was up for Best Actress, and you have Best Director, Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, Best Costume Design, Best Original Song, Best Score, Best Production Design. All of those. It lost to Oppenheimer for Best Picture, though.
Oh, okay. So, and that's another 17-year movie.
I know. They were like, what's up with all these very, very long movies?
And you know what? I tried to watch Oppenheimer. Didn't know RDJ was in it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. For those who don't know, RDJ, Robert Downey Jr. Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know that he was in it. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to watch it. And I started watching it and I was like, I can't.
It's a lot.
Watch this.
It's a lot, yeah. So, all right. Yeah, well, cool. I love it. Well, I'm just going to do some hot topics. Hot topics. So, one is the Olympics. The closing ceremony is happening. Dun, 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 dun. You're welcome for that, guys. Yep, y'all are 150% welcome.
Absolutely.
And so, but basically, so we had a ton of Olympics that have happened over the last 2 weeks. I know we talked about a little bit last week. This week, there's been a ton of different things. You had swimming that was going on, which Katie Ledecky won her gold medal. I think she is the most decorated female athlete ever in the Olympics. I don't know if it's most decorated period or female. Like, I think she might be decorated period. You had this week that Noah Lyles was running to potentially win in his category, which you've been seeing him on all the commercials. That's the thing. It's pressure because they put you on all the commercials. They put you like, hey, got him with Carl Lewis. They're talking about all these different things, you know, all this stuff. And then you have to stand there and be ready to do your race. So he ran his race. He did not come in with the gold medal. And, oh, by the way, he came in with the bronze. And he had COVID. So then the question was, did he know he had COVID before he ran the race, or did he find out he had COVID after he ran the race? And I haven't gotten an official answer on that yet. But basically, he has asthma. And he was running the race with COVID. So after the race, he was literally like on the ground, like
a lot of excuses.
Well, it's COVID though. So I mean that helps. It messes with your lungs, and therefore him being asthmatic and all that. But they literally said he was on the ground. Well, I saw it. He was on the ground. He was breathing extremely hard. And I was like, dude, get up. Just because you got the bronze, don't be faking it. You know, because I told you too. I was like, oh, I was wrong. So anyway, he ended up having the gold. Literally, he stood on the podium to get his medal, and they had to wheel him off in a wheelchair to the back because of the fact that he couldn't breathe. And he was like, my Olympic run is over. He was supposed to do the men's 400 meter, and he wasn't going to be able to run in it at all. So therefore, they had to figure out, like, call an audible and get other people to participate. Right. So what ended up happening on one of the races for the 400 meter for the men to qualify for the U.S., they had the really young teenage guy. Oh my gosh, I should have looked up everybody's names, but the really young 16-year-old runner who is doing the race. Hold on, I have it right here. His name is Quincy. That's it, Quincy Wilson, 16, youngest male U.S. track Olympian in history. So they had him to start off, you know how you hand off the baton, right? So he was doing the first 100 meter, then he handed off and all that. So he's running. I'm watching it live, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Quincy, come on, you can do it, Quince. You got this. So he's running. He starts losing steam. Starts losing
too excited when he first
steam.
starts.
I have no idea. All I know is by the time it came time for him to hand it off, it was like, he got it to the guy, but that guy had so much that he had to make up for, which then the next guy had so much to make up for, and then the last guy had so much to make up for that they came in third place. Had they dropped any lower, they wouldn't have qualified to even run for the goal. So then it was like so weird. So I watched two things, and I was like, oh my God, this commentator, he's tough. I don't know where he's from. But anyway, he has the microphone, and he's like, so Quincy, you know, like what happened? What was going through your mind there? It seemed like a little slow start. And so Quincy's like, yeah, well, you know, I was doing my best that I could for the team. It was, you know, just, you know, not my best run, you know, blah, blah, blah. So he's talking. Then they go to the other guy, you know, the other guys on the team. And I was taking it that they were trying to make them blame Quincy for them having to run so hard, because one of the guys was even still standing there like bowled over, like trying to catch his breath. And everybody's like, look, we're a team, we're working together, we got this. And they were like, so what are y'all going to do? Y'all have to try to go for the goal. So like, what's going to happen? And basically they were like, we got to look at the video, analyze it, work with our coaches. We'll figure out what happens. Well, next thing, you know, a day or so later, I think it was a day later, it ends up being that the race is taking place. Maybe it's 2 days later, but the race was taking place for Saturday. And so what ends up happening is that Quincy is in the stands watching the race. They did not allow him to run it. They were just like, look, the goal is just too important. So he was in the stands, and you were supposed to have Lyles in it, which Lyles was somewhere. He's not even. He might not even still be in Paris. I don't know. Right, they might have shipped him, you know, back home.
I don't know if they would ship him anywhere if he had COVID. They probably have him quarantined.
Yeah,
somewhere.
maybe quarantined somewhere. So long story short, and Quincy had been waiting all week. Like his race, he's been there for 2 full weeks. He got there even before the Olympics. They're talking about him being a 16-year-old, all this stuff. He's going to be, you know, this amazing athlete. And so they were talking to his parents in the stand, and his parents were like, yeah, he's been waiting, but he's been focused. He's had different people come up to him. LeBron's come up to him and stuff. You know, different people have talked to him and told him, you know, just stay focused, because you're there for so long. And then you finally get to do your race. And then the one race you do, now, I mean, they were talking to the parents before he did the race, but the one race you didn't really excel in the way that they thought that you would. So long story short, the race takes place, and then so they had to have 2 audibles basically. Then you have to keep practicing handing off the baton, handing off the baton, all of that. Yeah, exactly. So long story short, the men won the goal. They pulled it all off and won the goal. And as I'm watching it, I was like, oh, poor Quincy. You know, I know he wishes that he could have participated in it, but he was in there screaming. He was like so excited for the team members.
I went to Paris for free.
But look, let me tell you what happens. I didn't know this. So then, because he was a qualifier and he was the one who helped, he gets a gold too. So they say he goes back to school with a gold medal.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I was like, he didn't even have to do that hard work for that part, because he got them to the point of being able to get them qualified for the goal. So he's on the quote unquote team to be able to do that. So I was like, oh, that's so cool. So you learn something new every time you watch the Olympics.
I guess it's everybody who's on the bench gets a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Even if you never touch the ball the whole season, you get the ring. So there you go. Or go out there for 15 minutes. Yeah. So that's kind of how that works. So then what happened, they had this men's relay that also happened, and that one was a disaster. I think they ended up coming in bronze. I can't remember,
Is that
but
the
it
one
was
that me and you watched where Jamaica didn't even come in?
I can't remember. This one, it was Botswana, I think, that won it all together. I can't remember. Anyway, it's all a blur. But all I know, Botswana won the one that Lyles was supposed to win, where he was out of breath and ended up almost collapsing. That's what that one was. Then you had this other relay race. I can't remember who won it. All I know is the baton handoff disqualified the United States completely.
Why?
So what ended up happening is that as you can't take off running. You can take off running, but you only have a certain amount of yards before you have to hand it off, right? So what happened is the guy who was waiting took off too soon. So when he took off too soon, the other guy was like ready to slow down, but then he was like, oh my God, I got to start speeding back up. So when he was trying to speed up to catch the guy, the other guy had to slow down. Like, where is he? Where is he? Like, he's holding back. So like, where is he? So then they stumbled on top of each other. He finally gave it to him. And by the time he gave it to him and the other guy was running, they were already past the amount of yards that you needed to get to do that. So then here goes that commentator again. So what happened, guys? Like, what was going on? Like, do you think that your teammate took off too soon? Do you think that he did not, and I'm like, dude, you can't be calling him. They literally haven't even watched the tape yet. But they were like, what happened with that first exchange? Like, that messed up everything for everybody. And so do you think that he, took off too soon? Now that he is standing right there staring at him. And he was like, no. He said, we don't know enough yet.
See, that's how it is in other countries. They're going to ask you the questions.
The toughest questions. And then they were like,
they're going to be like him, that guy here that we're standing right beside.
There.
This is your teammate.
Yeah.
He failed you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For what you all were trying to come here and accomplish. So how are you feeling? What's up with that? What's going on? Did you take off too soon? And I was like, oh my gosh. So anyway, that stuff is a mess. But yeah, so gymnastics, everything went really well. Although I just saw recently that Jordan may have to give back her medal for her bronze. And I don't know enough about what was going on in regards to that. Look, I'm going to try to look it up now and see if I can find out. But basically, there was a judge and a panel and everybody that was involved saying that she, excuse me, I don't know what's going on there, but that she might have to give back her bronze medal. So it says here, as I'm pulling it up, return the bronze medal after a ruling. They were saying that it was due to, she came in third place, that it was, I don't know, I'm still trying to figure it out, but it was last to perform the floor of routine. Child's coach believed that the judges had underscored her. They filed an inquiry shortly after the initial score. The judges agreed, revised her score, and that made her come into third place. So that's how she was given the bronze medal, because they challenged the scoring. But I guess the Fédération Internationale de Gymnastique, or however you say it, I don't know. But the Romanian gymnast filed a protest. And now the decision on Saturday stated that she very well may have to, the inquiry vacated, that her score was reverted back to 3,666, so therefore she might have to give it to Romania. So there you go. So it's a lot of drama with the Olympics.
How do you accidentally score somebody wrong? I don't understand.
Well, they scored her low. They challenged the score. They won the challenge. They gave her the bronze, but now the person who got overruled with the original score came back and said, I'm filing a complaint. I don't think that's fair. I think I did deserve that, and you shouldn't have changed her score. If that was her score, it should have stayed her score. Why did y'all give her a better score? So that's why Romania might get the medal. So there's that. But yeah, so I can't remember if we talked about last week, but Clark Kent, and if we talked about that, but he got his gold medal, which was the person who has to take off his glasses to do his, pole vault. whatever it was. I can't remember. I think it was pommel horse. And then also you have a lot of, I mean, there's just been so many things. Watching breakdancing, legendary for the very first time that they have had breakdancing in the Olympics, because I truly was trying to figure out how do you watch and score and figure out, and it's a lot about your quote unquote style. And so that's what it is. So anyway, I know I said this was a hot topic and now I feel like it's a very long topic.
No, I'm with it because I definitely wanted to talk about Ray Gunn.
Oh, yes, please. Go ahead. Continue.
So, Ray Gunn, a lot of people think that her name is Dina in real life and that she knows what hip-hop is, but it's not.
This is hip-hop.
Yeah. Ray Gunn is, her name, I think her name is like Raven Gunn something. I can't remember her name.
Okay.
But she just took like the first couple of letters of her name and made a nickname. She came in last place for being a B-girl. Some of the people did very, very good. Some of the people make me think that I could have qualified to be a B girl.
You could have, maybe.
I definitely could have. If I could windmill and spin on my head, I probably got at least bronze. Seriously. Okay. Yeah, I could do that. But no, she's from Australia. She studies cultural dancing, and I guess this is the culture that she decided to study.
Yeah, that's it.
And she should not be at the Olympics for 2028. But those Summer Olympics, go let some younger kids do it.
Yeah, because
she's like
Australians 30, do it. 34?
34, something like that. But yeah, get some teenagers in there. I think that us for the United States, we did pretty good. The young lady who did her stuff, she was doing like a balancing act and everything while she was doing her stuff, so she did really good. Like she did a handstand flip, but had her hands back behind her and her legs kicked back like a letter C, but her hands were all the way behind her, and like it was just amazing how she did that. So she was definitely sticking some moves, some poses.
Got it.
But yeah, I think it was probably about like 3 of them that I saw that were like, oh, okay, I could see this. There should just be all here.
Yeah.
Nobody else should be here. We'll just go between y'all 3 and see,
who's going to win.
Who's going to get, what's the order going to be. So yeah, that's what I have for Ray Gunn. She is all over social media. She's all over everything. She's
everywhere. Yeah.
She's like Visa. She's everywhere you want to be.
Yeah. Okay, great. The other highlight I wanted to share was just the Olympic highlights on Peacock with Kevin Hart and Keenan Thompson. Hilarious. It's very funny. I've really been enjoying it. I've actually been like searching for it so that I could see what they would say about certain things. So I can only wait to hear what they say about Reagan, because I'm pretty sure they're going to talk about her as well. One of the things that I thought was really hilarious this week is they had Colin Jost, which was weird to me, but NBC chose Colin Jost to be the person to cover the surfing part of the Olympics.
I mean, I don't see why not.
Well, I didn't know he was a surfer, so he's a surfer.
Oh, I didn't think that he was a surfer. I was just saying just because he's into television and stuff like that.
Yeah, and him being with Saturday Night Live and all of that.
So he's already under NBC.
Yeah, so he actually was out because they did it because, in Paris you don't have any ocean to be able to, do the Olympics. So they went to French Polynesia, Tahiti, to do it there, which I'm like, ooh, Tahiti, that sounds amazing. But it's like thousands of miles away from where the Paris Olympics are. So actually, one of the jokes that they had was that, gosh, we're closer to the Olympics here than you are in Tahiti. Like, and they were in LA.
Oh yeah, they were saying some jokes, stuff like that. He's like, I did. Yes, I did go and find me a nice jacket to put on. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's still sweltering hot out here. It's so funny. Yeah.
And he was talking about how there's chickens everywhere. So he was talking about how, I got some producers, there are chickens around here, and they were like, watch out for the chickens. They look like they're starting to gather. And it was a gathering of chickens behind him that he was like, I got my laptop perched up on a cooler and this and that. Yeah. And like, he was like, so this is like very makeshift. So come to find out, Colin does surf. he went surfing, and they were talking about how dangerous the surf is out there because of all of the reefs.
In Tahiti?
Yeah.
Okay.
And all the reefs and everything that is going on. So as you were surfing, if you hit the wrong way, you getting scratched all up because it could be something underneath. It's not the Great Barrier Reef, but it's reefs. Yeah, that are there. So long story short, he scraped up his foot some kind of terrible, to the point that he did put a video of it up, showing that it's all bandaged up. He said, gosh, you feel kind of bad that you go to the medic tent for your injuries as a as the commentator, and yet, or the correspondent even, and then you have these people who actually are doing this for the Olympics who are waiting for you to get out the chair so that they can sit there for something that they might have to deal with medically. But long story short, the guy, poor thing, he ended up having to come back home. He ended up with an infection.
Oh wow.
He ended up throwing up, getting so sick, like the whole 9 yards. It was like starting to turn. Like it sounded like it could be sepsis at any moment.
Yeah, so like his wife said, if you don't bring yourself home.
Exactly. Yeah, which is Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. So she was probably like, look, you're going to bring yourself home. But basically, he ended up getting, an infection that led to like fever, that led to all this other stuff. And they just said, we cannot continue to keep you as a correspondent. So they ended up bringing someone who was a previous Olympian who was already there as a surfer.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you want to fill in really quick?
Yeah, do you want to fill in? And that's what he said. And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. He was like, who am I replacing? They were like, Colin Jost. He's like, I have no idea who that is. He was just like, I don't know who that guy is. And then they were like, oh, Scarlett Johansson's husband. And he was like, I know her, but I have no idea who he is, kind of scenario. And it was like not him even being funny. You wouldn't know him
unless you watched SNL.
No, how would you know him? Yeah. How would you even?
I want to say he might be like an executive producer on there because he's on all of them. He does. Everybody who does the Weekend Update. One of the main. They're the main writers.
Yeah. So him and Michael Che. Yeah. And so but anyway, it was funny because even when they were talking about having Colin on there, so Kevin Hart was like, yeah, we got one of the top people who's at the Weekend Update desk, and Keenan was like, oh, Michael Che, I love Michael Che. And he was like, no, Colin Jost, he's out in Tahiti, for the thing. He was like, oh, the white one. And I was just like, wait, hold up. It's not necessary. That was not necessary. But anyway, but long story short, the last thing I wanted to talk about is a hot topic, and then somehow we're already at an hour, which is crazy. Right, it went so fast. But is that we have a vice presidential nominee selected for Kamala Harris. And so that process took place over the last week. So just wanting to take a moment to tell you all about that. And so he is the Tim Walz. He is the governor of Minnesota, which interestingly enough, everybody like, who that? Like new phone.
I do have some information about him.
Nobody really knew who he was. And so I have a couple of things here that I wanted to share. And then I probably have missed some things, but I will say that as everybody was like, who is this? People from Minnesota were chiming in and saying, he's amazing. Yes. We love him so much. Like he's done so much for our state, for our communities, all of that. So it says basically that he's 60-year-old. Which everybody's like, he's so old. Why would she pick an old man? And it's like, he's actually only 6 months older than her.
Yeah,
he doesn't look like he's 6 months
differently.
older than
Black
her.
Don't crack.
Yeah, exactly. But is she black?
Creases.
No, I'm just joking.
It creases. Obviously, yeah.
It creases.
How about this? Brown don't frown.
There you go. Exactly. So, but he's a military veteran. He is someone who has coined the term weird. I don't know if you came across that. But
I like weird.
Yeah. So he was just like, oh, that's very weird. Like, why would Trump? And even when he did his like acceptance thing, he was just like, yeah, it's just so weird. And everybody's like, wow, like because everybody knows that that's just his terminology. He's been working with the youth in the community as well, and he's coached football for a high school, and it's just a lot. He was a teacher, all of those things. So you can go ahead and share what else you have.
Okay, so this is from Tall Mom Running on TikTok. Okay, this is actually back on July 25th. That this was something that I had saved before because they were like, the pick could potentially be. Yes, so this is what somebody was saying, and then this is Minnesotian. That she's super excited. So here we go.
But the aforementioned dark horse, my favorite coming out of all this, is the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. A little bit older, but he does look like Santa Claus, which I think is...
I have ended up on the side of TikTok
where we are talking about Governor Walz as the VP pick for Kamala Harris. And people, you don't understand. It's my time to shine. If we're going to talk Minnesota state legislation and what the DFL has done for Minnesota, there's only one person for the job. Let me educate the world. Let me educate. Let's go. First and foremost, for everyone out there, it is Walz, not Waltz. Trust me, they came for me in 2023, and I learned quick.
There's no T.
W-A-L-Z. There is no T. Walz. Second, Governor Walz is part of the DFL, Democratic Farmer Labor Party. It has a very rich history here in Minnesota that I can get into if people want to know about it. But people will come for you if you say he's part of the Democratic Party. Nope. He is part of the Democratic Farmer Labor Party. Okay? Now, when people say Governor Walz got a lot done with a slim majority, I do not think people realize how slim that majority was. The DFL had a 1-seat majority in the Senate. Let's give you a non-exhaustive list of everything that has happened in the last 2 legislative sessions here in Minnesota. Paid family and medical leave. Paid sick and safe time. Driver's license for all, which means undocumented immigrants can get driver's license. Free higher education, technical school, and college for those in low-income situations. Expanded tax credits for those in low-income situations. Taxing corporations and businesses. Non-competes. Think of a past. Book bans. Think of a past. Lots and lots and lots of funding to public education. Like so much funding to public education I can't even explain to you. Investment in infrastructure. So much investment in infrastructure. Conservation efforts. We like our animals, despite what some people might think about what we think about deer. Recreational use. We expanded voting rights. Released felons can vote in Minnesota. Yes, they can. We now do automatic voting registration for 16 and 17-year-olds, as well as automatic voting registrations if you go and get a driver's license. I know. Oh, and we codified abortion rights. And we codified rights for the LGBTQ plus community. Because, yeah, that's right. We're not just a little progressive. We're progressive. We have universal breakfast and lunches for our children. All the children. Doesn't matter where your income is. All the children get universal breakfast and lunches. And on top of that, we expanded pre-K to thousands of children here in Minnesota. I do not want to see Governor Walz leave the great state of Minnesota, but if it is to improve America, I'll cheer him on.
I love it.
Yeah, so I do love that.
Yeah.
So he does have some things that he has
accomplished,
and people in Minnesota love him. Mm-hmm. So I love that people love him.
Yeah, a lot of people are very excited about the ticket. There's still a ton of funding that's coming in as well. Kamala Harris stated that if I think that they have agreed now to do a debate. Because before it was that Trump didn't feel like he needed to because he had already debated Biden. So therefore he was like, why do I need to show up? But Kamala actually said this past week, I know, but she said this past week, whether you show up or not, I will be there to answer questions. And I think that's kind of put the fire in him to just say, I have to.
I didn't know that debates were like you could go or not. I didn't know that was a thing.
I thought go or not.
But no, I'm saying I thought that the debates were like the people.
No, the debates
are making you do these debates so they can know where you stand before we get to
But
November.
He doesn't feel like he needs the people to have him debate because they're going to vote for him regardless of if he has to debate or not.
I thought it was mandatory.
No, because in the past what would typically happen is that the person would feel like, hey, I need the American people to know where I stand on certain things, so I'll have this commentator ask me a bunch of questions about how I feel so that people will know whether or not they want to vote for me. I think his philosophy is they're going to vote for me, so why do I even need to talk to anybody? If they're already for me, they're for me. I don't need to get new people for me.
I don't need the Christian vote. I'm not religious. I don't need the Christian vote. That's what he said, right? But I'm saying. But I don't.
He said he was not a Christian. Yeah. He said, no, he loves Christians.
He loves Christians, but he said he's not. Yeah, I don't believe. Kind of what it went. But no, but yeah, I always thought that like a debate was like, you have to do. It's mandatory.
It used to feel like it was, and then
we know the rules, and we now know it's not mandatory.
I have a question. So, if he is a convicted felon, can he vote on election day?
In Minnesota, he can. I'll tell you that one.
But he is not it's like you have to vote where you are registered. He's not registered in Minnesota.
Where is he registered? In Jersey or in New York? Or Mar-a-Lago? That's
probably
what I'm saying.
In Florida.
He got so many places that he might, you know what? He probably is registered in Alaska.
I don't know. But the thing is I'm wondering on election day if we're going to see him go to cast his vote. But can he cast his vote? Because they don't want convicted felons to be able to vote.
Yeah.
So therefore, how does he cast his vote?
I didn't have to vote.
Well, but remember,
did it for me.
Well, you said we're never going to have to vote again, remember?
And
Yeah.
people are like, what are you thinking?
I don't understand.
I don't understand
just
why.
Don't worry about it. We won't ever have to vote again. It's okay. We'll take care of it so good. We're gonna put it up so tight that you'll never have to vote again.
You'll never even have to vote again.
And that's a positive for some people.
How is this a positive?
Because maybe people want a dictatorship. They want a Putin type life and world. So
and the Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
I don't know which Kim Jong-un.
I don't know. Kim Jong-un. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's
His
it.
father was EU.
I have no idea.
But anyway, yes.
On that note, y'all, that is it for this week's episode of Sestra-Tainment. Have an amazing week. Take care. Enjoy just life.
Yeah, right?
Bye.
Bye.